Hey everyone, it's Brennan. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. Today, we are doing a quick take on Katherine Arden's Winternight trilogy. Let's start this discussion with some quick facts about this series. There are 3 books: The Bear and the Nightingale, The Girl in the Tower, and The Winter of the Witch, all with beautiful covers. Just like a little fact, Katherine Arden started writing this series when she was 23 years old. So for those of you young aspiring authors, age is just a number. She published the first book in 2017, the second book in 2018, and the third book in 2019. Such consistency, and we love that with a fantasy series. So this is a completed trilogy, and this is young adult fantasy, but it's also historical fiction. It is set in Russia in, I think it's the 14th century, and there are actual historical figures in this series. Dmitri, who is the ruler of Russia during this time period, is an actual historical figure. Brother Alexander, who is Vasya, our main character's brother in this trilogy, he was a real monk during this time period. This trilogy focuses on our main character, Vasya. For most of the series, she's about 17 years old. So the first book in the series spans, depending on how you look at it, 10 to 20 years. Vasya is about 17 by the time this first book is over, but we start out the book before she is even born. This isn't really a spoiler. This video will have no spoilers in it, but Vasya's mom dies during childbirth, and that's just an important plot point in this story. And she basically knows that she is going to die with this pregnancy. And her family lives in northern Russia in a very woodsy, rural area, but her family is like the, not the lords of the town, but the like protectors of this town, basically the people in charge. So Vasya is born. Her mom knows that this is going to be kind of a special child. Vasya's mom kind of had a little bit of magical abilities, but Vasya's grandmother was quite magical. And the magic in this world centers around Russian folk spirits. They're called charity. These charity have, for the most part, protected homes, but they also have some malicious intents, some of them do, and that is a large part of our story here. So in the very first book, we follow Vasya from the age of about 6 to 17. And this first book, though, is the only book that has a long time period. The other books are right after this book and right after each other. So we see Vasya grow up and we see her develop her personality. She is wild, she is adventurous, she likes to do dangerous things, she loves to ride horses, and that is not acceptable for a female in this time period. Her family just want her to get married and be a safe housewife, basically, because that's what women did in the 1300s. And another plot point in our story is that the newer religion forms of Christianity during this time period are really taking hold in these smaller townships outside of Moscow. So Vasya gets a stepmother who relies very much on her, I think it's like Catholicism, their religion, to keep her mind clear, because Vasya's stepmother can see these demons, is what she calls them. But Vasya sees them too, and she knows that they are the charity who are there to protect and just be parts of their everyday life. And so Vasya's stepmother kind of brings with her a fear, and a priest comes to their town also and really plays on that fear and really tries to instill fear in the public, the fear of going to hell, basically. So the village that Vasya lives in really starts to turn away from their traditional spirits, and that causes some issues. It leaves an opening for some bad charity to kind of take hold, and the priest in this story, Father Constantine, he is a very interesting and important character. So he tries to be good, but really he's bad, because he really lets himself desire publicity and attention and praise. But like in the first book, he's still trying to be good, but that kind of goes out the window. So first book, we are following Vasya in her hometown, and she gets to dive deeper into the charity world. In the second book, The Girl in the Tower, Vasya kind of strikes out on her own. She wants to travel, and she ends up meeting up with her family in Moscow. Her brother has gone to Moscow to become a monk, and her sister had gone to Moscow to get married to one of the princes and start a family. So she finds herself in Moscow with her beautiful new horse named Solovey. And And the plot around this second book is that Vasya has been pretending to be a boy because she's doing things that girls are just absolutely not allowed to do. Well, the things that she has done and the things that she sees and her like communing with these folk spirits set her up to be a witch. So, second book, we're in Moscow. We do cool Moscow adventurous things. We kind of get some politics of the world, and we get more spirity things, but the charity aren't as strong in Moscow because Moscow has really turned away from that way of life and is leaning more towards the newer religion. And that's a very quick and dirty of the second book. And like I said, I'm not going to spoil too many things in this series for you. So we will go into the Winter of the Witch. And the witch, obviously, we have Vasya. Now in this book, we get more actual travel between the real world and I'm gonna call it the spirit world, but that's very Avatar, but that's what I'm going with. So we get a lot of travel between these worlds with Vasya. She's learning more about the powers that she has and what she can do with them. But we also get some real life war, and it's with the Tatars, and I think they were from Crimea in this time period, so there's like an actual war that is happening that historically happened. And now let me give you a little bit more details about some particular charity. So I have to mention Morosko. He is the Winter King, so he's very strong in winter, and he is also charged with taking the dead. So like after someone dies, Morosko comes and takes their spirit into the spirit world. And he has taken a liking to Vasya. He took a liking to her as soon as she was born and has been in and out of her life for the whole time. And I don't think this is a spoiler, but he's the love interest, and oh, it is so good. It's so good. You get that in the first book, but their relationship is painful and beautiful and obviously very magical. And one of our bad guys in this series is Morosko's, I think they're twin, his brother. He's the bear. And I think in Russian it's Mitvet is his name. So we have our real world clashes, we have our spiritual world clashes, we have clashes between the worlds, we have clashes between Vasya and basically every normal person in society. There is the gist of this series. I love Vasya. Really, at this moment, she may be my very favorite character that I've ever read from. I will say this is not first person perspective, it's like third person, but I just so enjoyed seeing Vasya grow and saying what was on her mind and what she felt, and she was really quite self-aware and she knew what she wanted, and she was not going to settle for anything else just because she knew it wouldn't be right, and she could never be that person for anyone else in her family. She couldn't be that dutiful daughter or wife who does domestic things. That just was not for her, and I really enjoyed that. And she really comes into her own independence within our world of charity also. She's just such an amazing character. Learning more about her family and her lineage and her family's backstory was so good. This last book made me cry. Quite emotional. Her horse Solovey is an amazing character. I will say I was very satisfied by the ending. It definitely had its sad elements, but it was very satisfying to me. I was very proud of everyone and what they were able to do, and I gave every single book in this series 5 stars. Thinking back on it, the first book may be more of like a 4.5 just because we aren't as deep into the plot and the world, but the second 2 books, they were incredible. So a really great series. If you like fantasy, I would definitely recommend picking this up. Even if you don't like fantasy, I think you would like this because it just has great storytelling, and I was just really invested in our characters. I really liked everything about this series. So let me know in a comment down below if you've read this series, what you thought of it. I would love to know. I would love to discuss. I just finished this recently, so it is fresh in my mind. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you want quick takes on any other books that I've mentioned on this channel, let me know. The other ones I've done, I'll link them below, but they've all been about series so far, so maybe I'll try to do one on just a single book. Anyway, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you in my next one.